Good evening and welcome back to the HR Insider. We're going to continue our discussion about being on a board of directors, what that means, how that feels, how that impacts you and impacts your community. Our guest tonight is Bansuri Mehta. Maybe you should say it again so that way it's right.
Bansuri Mehta. You got it.
Bansuri Mehta. She is a medical practice administrator for the Retina Vitreous Center in the Oklahoma City area.
That's correct.
That's correct too? Okay. She is currently serving on at least 5 boards in the Oklahoma City area, and tonight she's going to speak with us about the different boards that she's on and what she gets out of it and what's led her to be so involved in the nonprofit world. So she'll be giving us the perspective of actually physically being on a board and all the things that come with it. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go ahead and hear a little bit about what led you to this.
Well, thank you, Alisha and Beth, for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to talk about, and hopefully some viewers may be able to take something home and take it forward, basically. Wonderful. So yeah, thanks for having me. I do serve on approximately 5 boards, yes. And the reason why I actually started being involved with nonprofit side of things was also the fact that I am from India. Mm-hmm. I came to United States. The people here were great, especially in the state of Oklahoma, and I took it upon myself to give back, and that started with my grad school. So I came here to get my master's. I got involved with a big event. I was on the student association boards. So that's actually what led to me getting involved in the Oklahoma community. After I graduated, I continued that, and currently I serve on the United Nations Association of Oklahoma City Board. I was on the World Experiences Foundation Board. I am on the Suited for Success Board, Stand Against Racism. I'm on the OU Alumni MHA Advisory Board, which I'm very, very excited about, to be able to give back to my alma mater, you know. Mm-hmm. And these things to keep me busy. I'm also on the Platt College Advisory Board as well. So it's not my day job. My day job is, like you mentioned, I work as a medical practice administrator for Retina Vitreous Center, but this is my night job, if you may. It keeps me busy and weekends as well.
So basically you wear capes. You must have like Superwoman capes, 5 of them.
Hey, it helps, you know. I mean, I have a pet fish, so it's not like I've got some lives waiting at home or something like that to worry about. But it's just that sense of giving back to the community. It's a question that I ask myself, what am I doing with my life? Mm-hmm. And that's a very strong, intense question within me. And the only way I can channelize is give back and give back in this way, which is not associated with my paycheck, basically. So
yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming. And I need to do a little bragging. How we met you was they were both awarded this year the 40 Under 40 award for Oklahoma City. The Gazette recognized these 2 ladies right here. So congratulations again.
Yay.
Very proud of you guys. My question for you is, what are, besides just the giving back, of course, that has got to be fulfilling and gives you a purpose, but what are other benefits that you find from being on a board, serving on a board?
Right. The main reason that I, again, got involved with the nonprofits was also the fact, like I told you, the burning question has always been there in my life. What am I doing with my life? Mm-hmm. And I would add some choice words in there, but we'll just keep it PG right now. But it's just the fact that you meet all these amazing people, especially in the state of Oklahoma. I'm just basically enamored by the quality of people that we have in the state. I'm constantly learning. I never want to be the smartest person in the room. And when you're surrounded by that kind of energy, it just gives that fuel and fire to your motives, basically, and you want to do a lot more. So I would say networking is definitely a very big thing as far as nonprofit side of things is concerned. Then they also have the chance to do something bigger on a bigger scale, even if it's a statewide scale. But you never know where that's going to take you. That statewide scale may take you to the Hill, Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., for all you know. So it does give your purpose a bigger purpose and a bigger dimension, basically. So those two things are definitely strong. I also feel like the impact that you're making, it's more of like a domino effect. You can very well help people one-on-one. You can make changes one-on-one. I do not undermine the value or the importance or the strength of that. That's absolutely there. But what I'm trying to say is this does bring about a domino effect. You have this group of people standing up for a cause within an organization, and the impact is a lot more. It's on a broader scale. So I would definitely say those 3 points are
good.
The other 3 things that do not involve the burning question.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, with all of your different experiences, you're bound to have had to deal with either some conflict or some legal responsibility as a board member or some disagreements. Can you give us an example, maybe not too personal of an example, but of a situation that you might have had to deal with and how you handled that?
Right. The thing that everybody who works on a nonprofit board must realize is that we are all different personalities. We could be alpha women, alpha men, all of us put together in a room around a table. So a lot of times your views may not be accepted and someone else's views may be accepted. So what I have learned, and I don't really have a specific example to give you, but I think what comes with being associated with so many different boards and so many personalities is the adaptability factor, basically. Okay. So some people may say some things and they may project and present it, and then there's a vote that's put forward on the board. So you may have to go with that. You may have to go with with something that you necessarily don't really think would be that impactful. Idea 1 versus idea 2, for example. So I think it has given me a lot of perspective in the sense that keeps me grounded, and I am a lot more open to other people's ideas because my ideas are not always the best. My ideas are not always going to be the most effective, and it gives me the capacity to listen to all these different people around me, and hence we are making the change that the one purpose that we are actually here for. So I think it brings all these different people together on that same table, and we just learn to basically coexist. That's a very, very strong, that's a very powerful characteristic to develop, especially when you're associated with boards. Could be anything, could be profit boards, non-profit boards, doesn't matter what.
Adaptability.
Correct, yes.
That's great. Adaptability.
Serving on 5+ boards, plus a job and a social life and all the things that you juggle, how much time does it take? How much time do you have to devote to serving on each board, and are there financial obligations if someone wanted to seek being on a board? They may have those questions if there's anything personal that they need to contribute to serve.
Right. Time is a factor. You're contributing your time because, again, you're not getting a paycheck for this. If you're getting a paycheck, hey, you're the lucky one and you are making it big is how I would put it. But time commitment, of course. There's also the fiscal responsibility that comes with being associated with the board. By that, what I mean is it depends upon the board that you are associated with. Okay. So let me give you some examples. Certain board, there's a board that I actually serve on. That board does expect you to have a certain monetary value worth of, say, goods or compensation, silent auction items. Okay. It could be number of tickets that were sold to a gala, things like that. So there are those expectations set for you, apart from your time expectation, which exists on every single board. That's an example. There's another board that I serve on that expects you to actually work at a local shelter, or it could be a local place of offering or organization, things like that. So the expectations do vary, and yes, there has to be a fiscal responsibility because that's the whole point of being a board member is you not just devoting your time, but you're also devoting every possible resource and expertise that you can actually bring to the table.
It sounds like that amount could vary too. It could be, hey, give $100 and you're good, or it could be somehow you have to fundraise $20,000.
Correct.
And you guys sort of decide that in the pre-conversation, and I assume everybody's kind of aware of that before they join a board.
Correct.
On what that responsibility is.
Right, and there could also be some contractual obligations, and of course you have to live up to those. And fundraising is a very important aspect of nonprofits. Yes. Because there isn't much money out there. So you have to have the capacity to be able to step out. Now that again would be an expectation, to step out and basically ask people for donations, ask people for items, or walk into a restaurant and be like, hey, this is the organization I'm associated with. Would you mind if I talk to you for a few minutes about tarara, tarara? Can we have some gift cards? And you'd be surprised. A lot of times people will say yes, but a lot of times they will also say no.
Right.
But fundraising is definitely a crucial aspect of serving on nonprofit boards.
With our viewers today, there might be some that are considering being on a board or getting involved in such way. What's something that you might tell them if they're considering to be on a board to help them sway their thought process? Like, hey, I want to be on a board. what should I know about it?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, the great thing is, of course, the burning question, and I'm sure all of us have that burning question, and that gives you an outlet. Don't be on a nonprofit board just because of your resume, or just because you are in that moment of those extreme emotions and feeling that I want to do something, but you're only going to feel it for 2 hours. It's like being a doctor. Don't be a doctor for the monetary aspect of it. You have to have a liking for patient care. So anybody who wants to be on a board, I would definitely say, try and do it for a cause and a purpose that you stand for. It could be associated with your life story. It could be associated with your family's story. It could be any reason. But find that core reason why, the real reason why you want to bring about that change in society. So that is extremely important. Of course, and then if you have a family, you have to take into consideration time factor. You have to take into consideration you will be required to. There are so many apps out there that I am on, just because every different group is on a different app, bringing all people together to be able to work on. So those constant distractions are there. Are you going to be able to devote the time and the resources to everything that you signed up for? That's a question you actually do need to ask for yourself, because you could be in nonprofits for all the wrong reasons. It could be, like I said, for your resume, or it could be for just some random things. You just want to be that community person, if you may. But then ask yourself that, what is it that the world needs, and work towards it, work for it. Be there for someone else, be there for an organization, or lend a helping hand. It does not have to be a nationally or internationally recognized organization. It could be somebody extremely local. There are so many food pantries in our area that need help, for example. They don't have any names, but they would any day accept anybody with open arms. So it starts with baby steps for sure. You don't have to be associated with the board right away. If all the fiscal responsibility and everything else that comes with it scares you, hands-on experience. That's how you will get involved. That's how I got started with the big events and everything else to follow. Then I met people, and then people invited me to all these board meetings, and then one thing led to another, and here we are talking about it today. So baby steps for sure, because again, you do have to worry about yourself and your life if this is not your day job. But then at the same time, if you want to do very well, you also have to be extremely organized. You have to stay on top of things, because if you're not bringing any value to the board, the board is going to question that eventually. So make a decision, and make the right decision for the right cause, is what I would say.
So I'm hearing passion for the cause.
Correct.
Having passion and the commitment,
Right.
and then this knowing that if you can balance those things to serve that group well and have balance in your personal life.
That's correct, because then it's going to be extremely fruitful.
Right.
Otherwise,
For
you
both-
would just
for
do
everyone.
it for the sake of your resume.
Yes.
And the world does need, at this point in time, it does need everything that we can offer. So why not?
Yeah, wonderful. Our last question, we've been talking a lot about leadership around here, and there's going to be plenty of leadership videos that we're excited to share soon, so be watching for those. My question for you is, how has serving on boards helped you become a better leader?
And I think I would digress to my point that I mentioned, adaptability. All these different personalities that you meet, because in your workspace you may not be exposed to all these different people that you would technically meet on this broad scale, this crazy broad scale. You go to all these galas and events and you meet all these people. So it definitely makes you a better individual. And a question that I ask myself, and every leader should actually ask themselves, is how am I contributing and am I better than yesterday? So those two intense questions are always on my radar. It's like, how am I actually giving back? So leadership for me is giving back. It could mean different things for different people. It could mean different for Beth, different for you. But I definitely do think that it helps me be a better human, a better individual, a much patient individual. I'm a lot more open to everything that the world has to offer. And it's not just about me, which tends to be the human tendency. So then serving on all these boards definitely brings that balance into my life. Of course, other things like job satisfaction on top of my day job satisfaction, which is amazing, which is great. And at the end of the day, if you sit down and basically think about it, you would have made a difference. So as an individual, I'm definitely growing because of everything that I'm doing on the side. And that is important for me, personally speaking.
And we'll get the opportunity to chat with you again in our next video about leadership and development. And we'll get to hear some more of your thoughts on leadership. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.